Well. Good afternoon, West Ham fans, Russ and the West Ham Network. Hope you are all safe and well, my friends. Hope you are all safe and well. Back to work. How depressing. Obviously, this morning I had my morning musing. There's some fascinating comments. I think I might have to do a follow-up show just on those comments about Graham Potter, unbelievably, and what would it take for those who are Potter out to give him to give it a label. What would it take for him to turn it around for you to change your opinion? Really interesting. Really interesting. Something. It's definitely some key thoughts coming through. Some very similar things, and I think one of them is about identity, and maybe it's a whole show in itself about what is our identity, because it does seem to be something which comes up very often. But anyway, that's for another day. Today is more important. It's the Hammers headlines in association with the KUMB.com, boys. Check them out in the description. 25 years, over 25 years now, still going strong. And it's all about exits today. All about exits, is it? Yeah, exits and cup finals. Um, God, it's sunny here. Anyway, let's start with some news of exits. Again, I don't think any of these are going to really surprise people, but it's just a bit more information about them. According to reports, according to Claret and Hugh, Mohammed Kudus is 99% leaving West Ham in the summer. That's according to a senior source, a top source at West Ham United. I mean, it's not really, it's a bit of an open secret, as the article says, that we're looking to sell. And when Clarence Hughes spoke to their senior source last night, he said, sorry, they said, she said, he said, I don't know who he is. Kudus is 99% certain to leave. He left Ajax to play in Europe. So even if we wanted to keep him, it would be hard. He's been linked with lots of clubs, including Saudi Arabia, where obviously there is a higher release clause. I think the club would favour that move. It's about 40 million quid more than if we sold him to Liverpool, for example. Well, 35 million pounds. 85 is the release clause for Premier League clubs. 80 is apparently the release clause for any top clubs outside of the Premier League or the Saudi Pro League, and the Saudi is 120 million. So obviously, and with someone like Salah signing a new deal, you think the SPL would want a poster boy signing. They had John Duran in the summer, and actually Al Nassr, the side that John Duran plays for, and Cristiano Ronaldo, they're the ones who are most keen for a move for Mohamed. So we'll wait and see. But unsurprisingly, the exit now seems inevitable, as we all assumed anyway. And obviously we're not playing in Europe this next year, so that's 2 years potentially without any European football if the Ghanaian winger decides to stay at West Ham. So that's for me a deciding factor in terms of making an end to his career at West Ham, sadly. But then how that money will be reinvested, we shall see. We shall see. Elsewhere, I haven't got the thing for it, but elsewhere, West Ham have also, according to Clarence Hugh, they've been busy today, spoken about Edson Alvarez, and Clarence Hugh understands that Alvarez has already been informed he's free to find a new club. Obviously, he was on the bench for the Saturday game. I saw him. I was in the dugout, so I was next to. There was reports that he had an injury. I don't know how true that was. The fact was he was there. He wasn't, and injured players tend to still be there, whereas probably the ones who are the naughty ones who don't want to be with the club wouldn't be at the club, and would just take the fine for not turning up. So, yeah, I mean, it will for Edson's representatives. They've reportedly saw the writing on the wall when Graham Potter's appointment as manager happened. Again, a bit of a surprise. I think he's our best CDM we've got. Saying that, I think potentially someone like Freddie Potts could come in, but it's potential, not actual, obviously. And that would obviously free up Edson to the money for Edson Alvarez. I think we would probably break even potentially. Maybe a little bit more than what we paid for, about 30 odd million quid, wasn't it? I think that's probably the going rate for the Mexican captain. I'd imagine not just a number of Premier League clubs, but I imagine other clubs in, I think it's Borussia Dortmund were interested in him, and I think that's possibly, the route to take rather than sell him to a Premier League club. So that's Uno Dos and Tres players leaving potentially, and one being Lucas Paqueta. Now, a little wrinkle in this sort of saga. The Brazilian news outlet boliviapa.com suggests, in fact, that discussions have already taken place between Lucas Paqueta's representatives and his old club in Brazil, Flamengo, where Paqueta began his career in 2027. What was interesting, again, reported in the Claret Hugh in the article, was it said that he's agreed to reduce his salary to leave West Ham and play for Flamengo. And the kicker being, they want it to happen before the Club World Cup, where Flamengo, just like pink, those are pink birds everywhere. Flamengo, their representatives in the Club World Cup, and according to the article, he wants to play in the Club World Cup for the Rio de Janeiro club. So, which makes a lot of sense if he was gonna, because also we've got the court proceedings as well, still the court proceedings, but the FA hearing still going. So not only would he return back to Flamengo, but be at the start of the FIFA tournament, and obviously the hearing is going to be mid-June. So by that time, we would find out whether he's going to be playing football again or not. So he's sort of stuck in this. So it's almost like, will West Ham gamble and sell him early to get 20, 25 million quid in the bank, or look at what happens after the. I don't know. I can see. I mean, either way, wherever his final destination will end up being, I'm pretty sure it won't be at West Ham. And if the FA hearing, publishes or says it's not guilty coming out of that, then he'll be packing his bag straight away. But whether that hearing's going to be in mid-June, that could throw everything up. It's so complicated. It said the likes of Man City are still sniffing around. Obviously, we'd get more money from a move to Man City rather than a move back to Brazil. There was the option maybe of even a loan deal, so he could play in the Club World Cup, and then on the basis of, if it's we get some money for that, and then if he's found not guilty, then it becomes a permanent deal. If not, say la vie. But again, it's like Man City are in the FA or in the FIFA World Club Cup as well. So, he could play for them. But I think there's something about his boyhood club he wants to play for. So look, we'll wait and see. It's all speculation. Anyway, what isn't speculation is the historic night tonight for the under-18s. They are going to be playing in their first ever Premier League Cup this evening. The countdown is beginning. The under-18s take on Reading. Under-18s, 7 p.m. on UK time tonight. It'll be streamed on the club website, and the club Twitter feed, the YouTube feed as well. It's the first time they've managed to get to the Premier League Cup final, so it is historic. And you'll see some really good players. Anyone who watches the academy shows knows the guys like Edris Golombekis, Preston Fearon here, who's the captain. Ezra Mayes, Josh Ajala. What they tend to do for the 18s for these types of games is bring down those 18s who've been playing for the 21s, particularly as the 21s haven't got a game until Saturday, as it's been confirmed that West Ham will take on under-21 squad, will take on Sunderland under-21s in the PL2 playoffs at Rush Green this Saturday, a midday kickoff. We secured fourth place in the regular season, which earned a home tie against, I think it was the 13th placed, and obviously Liverpool drawing with Aston Villa on the final day meant Sunderland became 13th. So that's who we played. Who we actually played in the last this stage last year and drew 3-3 and then lost on penalties. It also means that should we get through, we then we play the 16s round of 16 at home, the quarterfinals, semi-finals away, but the final at home. Should they progress, so we'll have 2 away games. But if we win all them, the final will be at home. Whether that's it won't be London Stadium, I wouldn't imagine. But could be Dagenham and Redbridge, for example, potentially as a bigger unit, so to speak, than Rush Green. We shall wait and see. The Hammers actually beat Sunderland at Rush Green. I remember it well in January. I think it was 1-0, but that was the game that sparked the 7-match winning run, which inevitably meant that Mark Robson's side finished they were 13th, they went to 3rd and finished 4th. With 4 games to spare, so they'd qualified, so that little run really helped us out. But cheer on the boys tonight, and maybe we'll get a bit of silverware. Who knows? Who knows? And that's it, my friends. Thank you very, very much for your time, as per usual. Don't forget to check out these Mother Brown for latest news, reviews, and opinions. Don't forget to match bingo as well. Our channel partners for the rest of the season. And yeah, take care. See you soon, and we'll see what happens.